Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with the Soul. I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert from Northern Illinois and a shiatsu massage therapist. I specialize in women, trauma based PTSD, chronic pain, fibromyalgia. Hi, Dan. Rheumatoid arthritis. Hi, Kathy. All sorts of things like that. Good morning, Ro, as well as the body-mind connections between what makes us feel good. Good morning, Christine. What makes us feel bad, and how to navigate this kind of crazy life that we have. Good morning, Jason. So this week, we've been talking about shamanism. Good morning, Sherry. Wow, we've got a lot of great people on today. This whole week we're talking about shamanism, and if you've been watching, you will have an idea that shamanism is when we're able to tap into higher or different parts of our consciousness. Oh, from Perth. Hi, Christine. We're able to tap into different, hi, Teresa. Okay, I'm going to have to stop saying hi. So we've got a lot of people on. This is awesome. Okay, where you tap into higher levels of consciousness or different levels of consciousness in order to evoke change. Change in your relationships, change in your paradigm, change in your body, change in your mind, all sorts of things along those lines. So where you get out of your conscious mind, out of that 10% of your brain that we think is us, and into more of the consciousnesses of our body, in our subconscious, into our unconscious, into our nervous system, into the receptors in our heart, the receptors in our gut, all of those. So basically, shamanism is when we get out of that tiny little, part that we consider the ego, and we get into a bigger awareness or understanding of not only ourselves, but then everything else around us. So today we're talking about shamanism and disease. So, and I really mean physical disease, not, dis-ease, which is, actually what we talked about yesterday, which was how you can use shamanism to help with emotions and the heart and relationships and things like that. Today we're going to be a little bit more practical. We're going to be talking about different states of awareness and how it heals the physical self, how it, even down to the level of telling your DNA which ones to turn on and which ones to turn off. So even forming those sorts of things. So let me talk a little bit about the nervous system. The nervous system is and our emotions are kind of the communication between our mind and between our body. And so our nervous system actually does a lot of guidance or a lot of determining of what gets sick and what stays healthy. So in our country, most of us are in a state of fight or flight quite a bit. Good morning, Aries. We're in this state of constant heightened nervous system awareness. And you can see it. You can see it in all the different coping mechanisms that we have. The obesity in our country, the consumerism, the divorce rate, things like that. Those tend to be a symptom or a side effect of having a highly stimulated nervous system. Now, when your nervous system is heightened, good morning, Michelle, is heightened in different parts of your body, then it limits circulation, it limits nervous system signals, it limits white blood cells, it limits all sorts of things in your body. And so your body can't heal itself. Your body's actually designed as quite a miracle. It has this ability to fix itself and heal itself and change itself, almost like Play-Doh. We are so malleable. It's pretty incredible how malleable we are and all the things that we can affect. Every 7 years, everything in our body, from Canada, very cool. Good morning, Sue. Every 7 years, everything in our body is changed over at least once. Good morning, Phyllis. It's been a while. How cool. Is changed over at least once. So the ability for our body to heal itself and to get into a new direction is huge. So we have that. Good morning, Karen. We have that ability to change virtually anything in our body. And shamanism is a tool that that's been used for thousands and thousands of years in all sorts of cultures, all sorts of indigenous cultures, in order to encourage the body to heal itself. Good morning, Linda and Teresa. So how does that work? Well, let me tell you a story that got me, good morning, Marja, that got me thinking about and really diving deep into shamanism. We all know that that when we have a conflict with something, an emotional internal conflict with something, we're very curious about how this works. And I was reading about shamanism many years ago, and I really got poked. And in fact, it's a topic that pokes people quite a bit anymore and causes a lot of controversy when I bring it up. And it's I was reading how many shamans in indigenous cultures would put wires or stones or something somewhere on their body, let's say underneath their tongue or in their clothes or something like that, and they would do their shamanic healing. Good morning, Kelly. They would do their shamanic healing on someone, and when they were done, they would take out what they had earlier put underneath their tongue or put in their clothes, and they'd say, see, do you see this wire? This is what I took out of you. This is the darkness or the sickness or the dart or the evil that I pulled out of your body. This is it. See, now you can get better. So when I talk about that to people, a lot of times their first reaction is how that's duplicitous, how that's wrong, how it's fooling people, how it's lying to them and giving them false hope. And what it's really based on is the placebo effect, which is not been studied enough in my personal point of view, the placebo effect on the body, which is telling the body what to heal and how to heal itself. So when a shaman would take something underneath their tongue and say, see this wire or see this stone, this is what I took out of you, now go be healed, that made me concerned. And so I started to study up on this stuff. And I really started to look into how the placebo effect works on the body and on how the body heals itself. I mean, we've all heard the stories about, 40, 50 years ago, someone giving someone a sugar pill or aspirin in place of, some bigger, higher drug, and how that person would feel much, much better after taking it. It's because it was telling the body, all right, this is what we want you to do. It was a physical motion. It was a movement. This is what we want you to do. And so the body does it. So here's a curious piece of information about the body. Wherever you focus your conscious mind, wherever you focus your attention, is where the body sort of perks up. And it says, oh, you want me to do something about this? You want me to do something about that knee? You want me to do something about how your heart feels or that lower back or this cancer that you're fighting or the fibromyalgia that you have? It tells your body what you want it to do. So when you focus on something, it tells your body, I want you to do something about this part of you, this part of your this area of your body. So when shamans would show something to the person that they were healing and working with and saying, I took this out of your knee, it gave the body permission to heal itself. It opened up the conscious mind to let the body go in and make the repairs and reverse the issues and fix any of the problems that it could. Now, we're not saying this is universal. Of course, disease is very complex and complicated. But if you want to get better from something, if you want to function better, you need to get your body and your mind in alignment with it. You need to you need to get it on board. So I've used this. Good morning, Jill and Kelly. I've used this research study as an example before of how kids who were dealing with cancer, when they were told to imagine where the cancer was and imagine shooting it, like a Space Invaders game, their immune system actually went up. And in many of them, the tumors would shrink. So that's one of my favorite research examples of how what we focus on, when we tell our body to heal itself, it will heal itself. Now, it can't just be a mantra. It has to be as real as possible as you can make it. And that's where the symbols come in. That's where the stone underneath the tongue or the wire underneath the tongue comes in. Because as many of you who've been involved, when you try to make a change in your life, it's not just enough to think it. You know, they suggest you write it down. They suggest you put it into a burning bowl. Good morning, Leah. That you tell somebody, you make a concrete movement to create change. That's because now you're not just getting your head involved, you're also getting your nervous system and your body involved. So you're getting everybody on board with what you want it to do. You're not just dropping a little pebble into a pond. What you're doing is you're taking all of your resources, all of your consciousnesses, and directing them in one specific direction. So there's an old story about Asian medicine, and it would say by the time somebody calls the doctor, they're 50% better. By the time they come into the office, they're 75% better. By the time they see the doctor, they're 90% better. And usually by the time they get out, they're much, much better. Now, that's probably true in Asian medicine because the medicine's a little bit more thorough, I think. It works more on the body-mind than Western medicine does. And it works more on, you know, how you feel and how you think and your relationships. It's more dynamic. Eastern medicine is more about the whole rather than one specific little issue. But it's still very true. You know, by the time that we make the movement to get help, a lot of our issues are cleaned up because we directed, not only with our thoughts, but with our actions, what we want healed. So shamanism is basically where you come to somebody else who usually has some abilities, either through study or taking something to assist them, like ayahuasca or peyote or meditation, or just a genetic difference that they have this ability to see where in your body, or feel, good morning, Debbie, where in your body you may have a blockage, you may have a memory, because the nervous system holds on to memories. When something happens to us, let's say we break our arm when we're a kid, our body protects it, and it'll suck it into our body, and we'll hold on to it, and we'll guard it. And because it hurts, we'll take our conscious mind, and we'll focus it on something else. We'll focus it on, you know, dinner or ice cream or the next thing that we have to do, or something we want to be worried about, or the future or somebody else. We will take our consciousness out of our body because it's uncomfortable, and we'll put it someplace else. But if we never bring our conscious mind back into that part of our body, then our body stops sending it as much blood and attention and nervous system signals and white blood cells and things like that to that part of the body. And it will start to have more and more problems. It will get weaker. It won't be as strong. It will have, it will very possibly get re-injured because it doesn't have the same range of motion. Maybe you'll get frozen shoulder. Maybe then other parts of your body will have to compensate and start having problems. So when you don't bring your consciousness back into the old injuries, the old memories, then you're going to end up with problems with it for a long time. Same thing with an emotional memory. Let's say when you were a child, somebody slapped you in the face. And if you avoided that thought, ever thinking about it ever again, you'll probably have a sensitivity whenever somebody comes up close to your face. And then you may end up having problems with paralysis in your face, or frozen, you know, where you're clenching your jaw, and TMJ, and things having to do with your face, because you have, because you took your consciousness out of it, because you didn't want to think about it. You didn't, you thought this is uncomfortable, and you went on your merry way, and you never came back and, let's say, rebooted the software and said, this part of my body is healed. So this is what shamanism does, as well as a lot of hands-on healing, as well as a lot of prayer healing and other things, at least as it comes to the body, mind, and healing in that sort of direction. What it does is it tells the body, this is where I want you to send your attention. This is where I want you to send love and relaxation and beta endorphins and nourishment and fluids. This is where I want you to send it, and it's okay to relax now. It's all right. You don't have to keep holding this. It's healed, it's fixed, so now your body can heal itself. So going back to the story of the wire or the stone under the tongue, when a shaman looks at somebody's body and they can sense or see or feel, and I mean, I certainly can. There we go. Wi-Fi is back on. So when a shaman looks at someone or feels somebody, as I said, me with my hands, I can certainly feel where there's blockages, where there's trigger points or knots or inflammation or heat or cold. I can certainly tell just by touching somebody and how they move where they've got blockages in their body. So what a shaman does is that they use one of their senses to tell where there are blockages in their nervous system, where something's being held, where it's not getting the nourishment that it needs. And then they draw someone's attention to that. They focus on that. They draw the body, mind, attention to it either by touching it or talking about it. And then they give the body permission to heal itself by saying, see, this is what I took out of you. I took this dart, or I took this spirit, or I took this this thing that was in you out. So now you can heal. Your body is welcome to heal itself now. And so the body does. It's pretty darn miraculous how that works. Now the neat thing about the placebo effect is it works even when you know it's a placebo. And that's the cool thing. They've done a ton of studies on placebo effect and healing, and what they found is even when you tell somebody this is a placebo, it's the fact that they're doing something, they're making a movement, it still works on the subconscious mind, and it still works on the nervous system level and gives that permission for the body to fix whatever's been broken or wrong, even down to the level of the DNA. Because believe it or not, we affect our DNA in a number of different ways. One of them is with our emotions. So when we have an emotion, when we release an emotion, dopamine or serotonin or whatever it may be, on every cell there's a cell receptor, just specifically for that type of emotion. And that cell receptor has a, sorry about that, that cell receptor has a root, almost like a lily pad. Has a root, going down into the muck and the mud in the water, and then floats on the top. And that root goes all the way down into the nucleus of the cell. So when you have an emotion, a positive emotion, a negative emotion, whatever it may be, that emotion chemical finds its correct receptor, and it almost turns, good morning, Barbara, it almost turns like a key in a lock. And when it hooks in and turns like that key in the lock, it sends a signal down that route, down into the nucleus of the cell. And it tells the DNA in the nucleus of the cell which genes to turn on and which genes to turn off. And as you probably know, positive emotions, positive chemicals, things that you feel good about, tend to promote health and wellness. And things that you're blocking or you don't feel good about tend to promote this illness or disease. So we can affect DNA and the genetics through our body and through our body-mind very subtly and in a very cool way. They've done some neat studies, and sadly it's based on survivors of the Holocaust, but they use that to notice that the DNA of Holocaust survivors were significantly changed in their descendants. So in their children and in their grandchildren, if they had children after that, In many indigenous cultures, they'll say 7 generations. The DNA was affected by that harsh body-mind trauma. So trauma and PTSD definitely affects your DNA and how it's expressed. It affects the DNA of the generations that come from you. So what shamanism does is it tells your body that it's okay to be healthy and it's okay to heal itself. And so the body can do the miraculous things that it does. And that it not only affects you, but it affects the generations to come after you. Now that's something that's really, really powerful. And so that's why shamanism comes with it a lot of mysticism and a lot of big claims. You know, shamanism can cure all sorts of diseases. Hi, John, nice to see you. Shamanism can, heal your family lineage, and it can heal generations down the road, and it can heal the worst illnesses and the worst issues. And that's why it gets such a big, let's say, reputation, because it has the ability to influence, impact, and affect all of those issues. As I said, it's never, that's never all there is. Of course, there's many different threads and causes to all sorts of diseases and all sorts of things that go on, not just the body-mind. It can be environment, it can be the choices we make, it can be, things that have happened to us that we weren't, prepared for. So disease is much more complex than the body-mind, but a big piece of it is when you can tell your body that this is what I want you to do. I want you to send nourishment. I want you to send circulation. I want you to clean out all the cellular waste and maybe the scar tissue and the toxins that absorbed in that area, because if there's no circulation, then it ends up kind of as a sinkhole and a dumping ground for the environmental chemicals, the things that you breathe in, the toxins from the bad hip that started to disintegrate, that you got replaced, from all the things that we get into, the pesticides and the GMOs and all that stuff. Areas that don't have, that our body mind's kind of detached from, becomes a toxic little sinkhole for all that stuff, which of course then creates more problems. So shamanic healing tells your body, open this up, open the blood vessels, send blood, nervous system signals, white blood cells to this area, flush it out, and start to repair and heal the damage that's there, and also turn on or off the different genetic markers. So that's how shamanism can help in a really broad spectrum of issues, because it gives your body permission and it directs your body for what you want healed. So the next time that you hear, really big claims, good morning, Caroline, the next time you hear really big claims about shamanism being able to heal stuff, don't just shut it off. Don't just sit there and think, right, it's another snake oil salesman. But on the other hand, don't just think this is going to fix everything that I have. This is going to fix all of my problems, because it won't. What it'll do is encourage the healing and encourage your body to heal itself. That's the main function that it has, is that it works with your body-mind to promote healing. So that's it for today. I am going to see you tomorrow on Thanksgiving, and I believe the topic's going to be about group healing and how you can use communities and whether they be prayer groups or hands-on groups or things along those lines, to help other people or to get yourself healed. Because that is, if one shaman, if one person doing shamanic work can evoke healing, can you imagine what a whole group, what a whole community of people can do? It's pretty darn amazing, the miracles that can happen from these things. So if you love this stuff, good morning, Laura. How wonderful to see you. So if you love this stuff, like, share, comment, let me know where you're from, become part of the tribe and the community. And good morning, Aurelia. And go to inspiremassage.com and sign up for our emails, because if you miss them here in the live stream, you'll get an email about them every day, Monday through Friday, 8:15 Central Standard Time, except for next week. Next week, Tuesday, I'm going to be gone for a week to Maui, Hawaii. So I'm going to be doing the live streams, but they'll be kind of erratic and on my adventures because there are a lot of adventures planned. So it'll be a lot of fun. So, okay, I think that's it. But if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, or you want an appointment, whether it's distance or in person, let me know. Because my job is to help you and help everybody, especially women, move in a real positive direction and start to balance out all this craziness that we're going through and get back on track. So have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.